image search for New South Wales Police Commissioner Karen Webb. She's always in uniform at press conferences and interviews, visiting schools, obviously not performing policing, more marketing and promotion. At a car dealership for an International Women's Day event, there she is, fully kitted out in a uniform. For coffee and cake at a private residence, there she is in uniform. Okay, look, maybe in her defence, she was on duty and then diverted to the school, to the International Women's Day at the dealership, and here for coffee and cake. Okay, but she's always in uniform, no matter where she is. That's actually in line with the New South Wales Police Force dress policy. So she's required to be uniformed to promote a professional corporate image, that's their words, when in public, in relation to the community. Now, this was a big surprise, because all of a sudden the commish, she's out of uniform at a New South Wales government inquiry. Oh, very, very peculiar. Liberal Sue Carter, she grilled the commish about what's going on with your attire. But Sue makes an obvious statement that she's never seen the commish in civvies. Well, nobody has, well, till now. Now, rather than asking why, which is really the most important question, she just asked, did you mean to do it? Not, why are you in civvies? Ah, don't worry about that. She confirmed, yeah, I was deliberate. I mean, she didn't say, I just sort of got out of bed, turned up here and thought, hang on, I'm not in my uniform. Was it deliberate? Well, of course it was. Note the article refers to her as Miss Webb, not the Commissioner. Oh, the clues are starting to come now. And she actually does come out with this incomprehensible nonsense. But basically, she had applied for an in-camera hearing, meaning not public, and she didn't know whether or not that it would be public. Well, of course it was. And apparently police can attend in plain clothes if it's not in public. Yeah, okay, that's in line with the police uniform dress code policy. Now, in this very same article, that reason's debunked because she said she knew the hearing would be public the day before. Now, I don't know, maybe she was assuming it wasn't going to be public and all of her uniforms were at the dry cleaners. No, she doesn't say that, though. She just leaves that out there. In other words, it was deliberate, and I meant to be here in civvies. Now, the question of whether she can wear civvies at this particular inquiry, well, that's up to the people that are chairing it and running it and the convener. If none of them object, then of course she can. She can turn up in a gorilla suit if she wants. So we still haven't got a why she's in civvies at this particular inquiry. So let's have a bit of a look and see if we can find a feasible reason. So could it be she's at this inquiry as just plain old civilian Karen Webb and not as a commissioner? As in, she's not clocked on performing police duty. She's off duty because this is the only time she's ever been in public in civvies. Now, she's here at this inquiry in civvies. This inquiry is about determining the timeline of when police, i.e. her, advised the Premier that the caravan terror hoax, bomb, total load of bullshit, was actually not hate-related. And it's to determine whether Minns knew that when he brought in the laws, which is important because if he did, then it's much easier to repeal the laws because they're under false pretense. Now it gets interesting. So Section 13 of the New South Wales Police Act 1990, the oath a person takes upon entry as a police officer is applicable any time a person exercises the function of an officer. Well, she's in civvies. Is she exercising the functions of an officer? I.e., is she under oath? This is further articulated in Reg 9 of the Police Regulations 2015, because a police officer who is off duty is only subject to the regs and the Police Code of Conduct, not the Act where the oath comes into play. So Karen, not the commish, she is off duty, has the option to say pretty much whatever she wants, the truth or not. And a remarkable coincidence, the assistant commish was here as Big Dave Hudson, also in civvies. And barring any other reason, being in civvies is not on duty, and therefore probably hasn't spoken a word of truth the whole time he's been in there. Now the photos of those two presumably lying buffoons, it's only in the paper, and I happened to come across it because I just started to flick through it. One of the fellas nearby had one, and I just stumbled upon it, otherwise I wouldn't have known. Now any of those pictures of them in civvies, they're behind paywall, so I thought I'll go to the ABC. Surely they'd have a few questions as to why they're not in uniform, but no, when they report on the inquiry, they show a prior picture of the assistant commish in his uniform, so people assume that he's in uniform at the inquiry. which of course he was not. I expect nothing less from the esteemed ABC to run cover for him. Let's just check the hypocrisy from the commission, the assistant commish, i.e. Karen and Dave. I think this forward was from a prior commissioner, but of course she's now the incumbent, so it's assumed to also come from her, or she's in agreement with it. So being well turned out is for most people a matter of personal pride. For a police officer, it's more than that. Now, of course, the implication being that it's more than that means that it's just more than just your pride. But at the inquiry, more than that means dressing so you could shit your ass off. It just goes to measure their status. Now, you can't argue with them at this inquiry because their status is that they're a bunch of lying scumbags and are dressed appropriately to achieve that end. I sort of made that as a statement of fact. No, so it's a theory. This is theory. I don't know. I mean, this is all guesswork here. Sure, we are nut job conspiracy theorists. When do we get anything right? The respect they seek. Well, that's obviously zero at this inquiry. I really like this one. It's very accurate. It's a caution to troublemakers, not lawbreakers. Troublemaker is very subjective. Could be someone who doesn't like the oppressive laws of government. That could be deemed troublemakers, and they might have to go after them. Just before where I've got it marked in red there, it says encourages those in need of help, not after COVID, and is a sign to all that law and order and civility will prevail, which again didn't happen during COVID, but it just says a sign, doesn't say guarantee. Well, that's when they're supposedly in uniform, but when they're not in uniform, it's even less than that, because theoretically, they're not on duty here, and perhaps not being up front about what they really... And look at her. Look, she looks like a kindly old lady. You can't speak ill of her. I mean, in a uniform, she's like a kick-ass police commissioner. She's sort of, you can't give her a hard time. Look at her. She's basically just an old woman. And there's Big Dave. I'd still give it to him, I think. All right, that's it for this one. If anyone thinks the theory is correct, or if you come up with another reason why they're in civvies, all the better. All right, that's it for this